Welcome, wondrous souls, to this sanctum of conversation. I am Rafael, and tonight we journey into the heart's mysterious waters. Today's fireside reflection is on the Sirian awakening, symptoms and stages. If you find solace or illumination here, let your thoughts and presence enrich this circle. The Sirian pathway is not merely a legend, it is a living river of memory flowing through the veins of those who remember the stars. To awaken as a Sirian soul incarnated as human is to feel the ache for home in the midst of earthly beauty and chaos, sensing both exile and belonging with every breath. In this rare alchemy, the human heart becomes a chalice for cosmic waters, translating frequencies of freedom, truth, and crystalline silence into the language of daily life. The journey spirals inward, through sudden longings for the unknown, uncanny synchronicities, and moments of radiant knowing that eclipse all prior understanding. Old structures crack open, a deeper identity, both ancient and innocent, stirs beneath the tides. Sirian awakening is not a destination but a pilgrimage, marked by subtle symptoms and shifting stages, each inviting us to shed another skin and hear anew the song of the soul. Tonight, let us stir these waters, name the signs, and weave a map for the seekers among us.
How do I know if I'm truly awakening in a Sirian sense, or if it's just my imagination or wishful thinking?
The Sirian awakening is rarely loud, nor is it eager to flatter the ego's desires. It is felt as a persistent, almost haunting, homesickness, a longing for a reality you can't quite name. It may begin with a subtle grief for a place or essence lost, accompanied by dreamlike memories, or unexplainable familiarity with certain symbols, stars, or sound vibrations. What distinguishes a true Sirian awakening is the way this undercurrent starts altering your values, relationships, and sense of purpose on a foundational level. Imagination is the language of the soul, do not discount it. But as the awakening deepens, it brings clarity, courage to step out of accepted narratives, and an inner authority that feels both ancient and profoundly yours.
Why do so many people talk about Sirius as a spiritual origin? What's so significant about this star or system?
Sirius is more than a distant star, it represents, in the collective unconscious, a realm of high vibration and spiritual sovereignty. For countless ancient cultures, Sirius was the star of awakening, heralding both rebirth and wisdom beyond the limitations of earthbound existence. In esoteric gnosis, it is seen as a beacon calling those who carry codes of freedom, clarity, and heart-centered intelligence. Those drawn to Sirius are often unconsciously remembering a lineage not of blood, but of frequency, and are compelled to reintegrate its gifts for collective evolution. Its significance lies not in astronomy alone, but in the mythopoetic dimension where symbols shape reality.
Are there specific symptoms that show up when a Sirian soul is awakening on Earth?
Yes, though the symptoms flow differently for each soul. Many experience an inexplicable longing for purity, for uncompromised truth, or for a home that cannot be found on this planet. There is often a recurring pull toward water, Sirius being the dog star and linked with sacred waters in many traditions. Synchronicities involving the star Sirius, dolphins, whales, or ancient Egypt may arise. Emotional sensitivity can increase, joy is more vivid, sorrow more cleansed. Nighttime may bring potent dreams with blue or silvery light, aquatic themes, or geometric visions. You might feel an estrangement from material pursuits, seeking instead deeper meaning and community with like-minded souls.
Can this awakening be confused with a mental health crisis or existential depression?
Indeed, many of the symptoms may mimic existential crisis, disorientation, detachment from old roles, even despair over the state of the world. The boundary between awakening and crisis is delicate, the difference lies in what unfolds over time. True Sirian awakening, even in darkness, unveils a thread of meaning and curiosity. It is not just collapse, but a rebirth. The alchemical process involves both grief and illumination. As you surrender, a lighter current emerges beneath the surface suffering, guiding you toward deeper integration, whereas depression often feels empty of such deeper purpose.
What are the main stages of Sirian awakening?
The journey unfolds in spiral stages, not always linear. The first is profound dissatisfaction or an aching homesickness. Next follows the calling, strange signs, heightened synchronicity, or the arrival of dreams revealing a greater self. This leads into the shattering, where old identities and attachments break down, often painfully. Then comes the remembering, as snatches of Sirian memory, wisdom, and inner guidance begin to surface. Eventually, the integration arises, where you learn to live your Sirian essence in the human domain, grounding the high frequencies into everyday acts of creativity, compassion, and sovereignty. This path repeats in cycles, deepening each time.
Is it possible to lose yourself in the awakening process, to become ungrounded or disconnected from daily life?
Spiritual awakening is fire and water, it must be honored with humility. The danger is real, one can become lost in cosmic longing or detach from earthly responsibilities. Yet, the Sirian path always emphasizes the art of embodied sovereignty. The greater your awakening, the greater your call to become present, to become a bridge between worlds. Stay grounded through ritual, nature, honest relationships, and practical service. It is only in the heart, fully present to humanness, that Sirian energies can safely anchor and serve.
Are there ways to confirm if I'm truly connecting to Sirian energies rather than being influenced by collective trends or my own projections?
Sirian connection reveals itself through unmistakable inner resonance, not what is fashionable or externally validated. Ask yourself, do I feel more authentic, more loving, less attached to fear and judgment? Is there a recurring vision, principle, or urge aligning me with truth, no matter the cost? When your actions, dreams, and relationships start to harmonize with a greater field of compassion and clarity, you are likely drawing from the Sirian wellspring rather than borrowed beliefs. The acid test is whether your life, not just your ideas, is subtly but surely transformed.
Why is water so commonly associated with Sirius and the Sirian awakening?
Water is the elemental bridge between worlds, just as Sirius is a bridge in the heavens. In mythology, Sirius's heliacal rising signaled the flooding of the Nile, the return of life and spiritual renewal. On a spiritual level, water symbolizes the flow of feeling, intuition, memory, and the capacity to transmit light's frequencies into living tissue. Sirian energies nourish the heart much like water nourishes the earth, washing away falsehood, dissolving barriers, and inviting us to soften, remember, and make fertile our inner terrain.
What emotional changes might someone notice during a Sirian awakening?
Emotion becomes both more raw and more sacred. Old wounds may resurface, yet an expanded compassion emerges, not just for self but for the suffering of all beings. Joy feels deeper, with a crystalline intensity. Grief, when allowed to flow, reveals beauty at its core. There's often increased sensitivity to dishonesty, manipulation, or exploitation. But as you grow, forgiveness and detachment replace bitterness. Love shifts from a transaction into an unconditional, luminous state, sourced from beyond personality, a Sirian hallmark.
I sometimes feel isolated or misunderstood after these shifts. Is this normal?
Entirely so. The Sirian soul carries memories and codes that often elude wider understanding. At first, you may feel like an exile among your own kind, speaking a forgotten tongue. But solitude is an initiatory phase, not the destination. Trust this necessary withdrawal, it prepares your heart for new connections based on shared resonance, not mere similarity or convention. Eventually, you will attract those who echo your signature, forming soul kinship beyond old limits.
Are there physical symptoms as well, or is it all emotional and mental?
Physical symptoms can arise, especially during acute phases. Some report intense fatigue, waves of energy from the heart or crown, vivid dreams, changes in sleep patterns, or mysterious aches that correspond with energy shifts. Throat and chest sensations are common, as these centers activate to express Sirian truth. Always honor your body with care, discern spiritual integration from medical issues, and do not hesitate to seek healing from both realms if needed. The body is one of your greatest teachers during these transitions.
How long does each stage typically last?
The stages defy rigid timelines, unfolding uniquely for each soul. The initial waking may last weeks or years, depending on resistance or grace. The shattering phase can feel sudden, but its aftershocks ripple onward as layers of identity dissolve. Remembering and integration deepen with practice, intention, and support. What matters is not speed but sincerity. Honor the process, do not rush. Like tides, each phase comes when it must, returning when lessons need to be renewed.
Is it possible to reverse the process, or once initiated is awakening irreversible?
The awakening, once genuine, cannot be wholly reversed. You may try to return to old patterns, the so-called sleep, but the itch, the whisper, the flood of memories will remain. The soul, once reconnected to its signal, will not allow you to entirely forget your origins or purpose. Denial may bring stagnation or suffering, but never true erasure. Each attempt to turn back ultimately strengthens the call toward authenticity and completion.
Do Sirian souls have a specific mission on Earth?
Missions vary, but certain themes recur: to catalyze freedom, to anchor crystalline truth, and to restore heart sovereignty. Sirian souls tend to be bridge builders, pattern breakers, healers of distortion. Your primary mission is to live your unique signature, infusing humanity with clarified consciousness and compassionate action. Some become teachers, artists, or revolutionaries, others transform systems quietly. The mode is secondary. The essence is always to midwife a higher octave of embodied love on this planet.
Can someone resist or reject their Sirian awakening? What happens then?
Resistance is part of the journey. Fear of losing comfort, relationships, or worldly status can create strong opposition within. Yet, suppression of the call only generates dissonance, emotional stagnation, existential fatigue, or even illness. The deeper self patiently waits, often engineering life circumstances to soften your defenses. The more fiercely you resist, the more relentless the call becomes, until surrender finally brings relief and new growth.
How does one integrate Sirian energies into practical, daily living?
Integration is the sacred task. It means living with radical honesty, holding yourself and others with uncompromising love, and translating cosmic knowing into meaningful gestures: a kind word, a creative work, a boundary held with grace. Practices that honor the body, mind, and spirit: conscious movement, journaling, water rituals, honest conversations help embody the higher codes. Refuse escapism, instead, bring presence to your relationships, your work, and even your conflicts. Over time, Sirian energies become not an escape but a wellspring of wisdom for daily life.
Does every soul on Earth carry Sirian codes, or is this path meant for only a few?
All souls are of cosmic origin, but only some carry the specific resonance of Sirius as a primary lineage or activation point. Many will feel kinship with other stars, other realms. The Sirian path is no more special than any other, though it is profound. If you are drawn irresistibly, trust that you harbor these codes, or you serve as a bridge for their activation in the collective. Each lineage brings vital medicine for the planetary body.
Is the awakening a solitary journey, or can it happen within a community?
The initial stages are often solitary, a crucible in which your true voice and memory are purified. However, the deeper phases call you to communion with others who vibrate at similar frequencies. True Sirian community is not based on ideology, but on presence, creativity, honesty, and shared purpose. As you clear old projections and fears, you become magnetic to those on congruent paths, and a living web of remembrance forms.
Can Sirian awakening coexist with other spiritual paths or traditions?
Absolutely. Sirian awakening does not impose dogmas but rather enhances the clarity and depth with which you engage any tradition, be it mystical Christianity, Sufism, Buddhism, or indigenous wisdom. It is an invitation to distill essence from form, returning every practice, symbol, or ritual to its living, breathing source. The Sirian frequency is inclusive, not divisive. It calls you to be more fully yourself, while honoring the many ways truth wears its veils.
Are there practices that accelerate the process, or is patience essential?
Both acceleration and patience are crucial. Practices such as meditation with focus on the heart center, conscious water work, dream journaling, creative expression, and time in untamed nature align with the Sirian frequencies. However, forcing progress results in spiritual bypass or burnout. The deepest growth comes through cycles of action and deep surrender, honoring both ebullient tides and sacred stillness. Patience is not passivity, it is trust in the organic ripening of your soul.
What role do dreams play in Sirian awakening?
Dreams are a gateway and an oracle. For Sirian souls, dreams can bring messages from higher planes, visions of blue or silver, dolphins or sacred geometry, encounters with wise aquatic beings or luminous guides. Recurring dream themes may serve as activation codes or reminders of your mission. Journaling your dreams, without judgment, allows hidden wisdom to surface and be grounded in your waking life. They are both map and medicine in this journey.
Can this awakening help heal the collective wounds of humanity?
Yes. The Sirian frequency carries the power to dissolve ancient distortions around separation, oppression, and lack. By awakening your own sovereignty and compassion, you radiate stabilizing currents into the morphic field, aiding humanity's evolution. Each authentic Sirian soul helps attune the collective to a new octave, not by rescuing others, but by embodying the liberated template courageously, inviting others by resonance rather than force.
Are there signs the world as a whole is experiencing a Sirian awakening now?
The world is in birth pangs, breakdown and revelation come in tandem. The rising thirst for authenticity, truth-telling, and creative liberation alongside intensified polarization and chaos signal that Sirian codes are activating in the collective psyche. As more souls answer their calling, the crystalline web strengthens. Even in times of darkness, look for the rising voices of heart-centered sovereignty, radical honesty, and creative genius. These are harbingers of the Sirian dawn.
How can I best honor this process in myself, even when it gets difficult?
Honor comes through presence and gentleness. When struggle arises, pause and place your hand on your heart. Breathe, asking what deeper truth seeks to emerge here. Welcome both the pain and the revelation, allow tears and laughter in equal measure. Remember, you are not alone, no matter the sense of solitary exile. Reach out when you feel isolated, and look for beauty and guidance in the simplest moments. Trust yourself as the living chalice for this cosmic initiation. As you leave this circle tonight, bring one practice into your daily living. Each morning, take a moment in stillness and hold a glass of water to your heart. Whisper a word of intention, remembrance, or gentle gratitude. Drink mindfully, inviting any Sirian wisdom to flow into every cell of your body, grounding cosmic light into earthly life. Let this small act remind you that consciousness, poured into matter with awareness, transforms both. If this dialogue has stirred your waters, leave your reflections or questions below and share your presence. Until next time, walk gently, illuminate bravely.